Hello, today we will be reviewing how to set up your calendar-based program for your Metz customization. What I have here on my second screen, just so that you can see, is the calendar menu here. So any copy and paste you see that I'm doing, I'll be doing that direct from this spreadsheet, just so that you're aware. That will be over here on my other screen. To get started today, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we log into the Temp-Taker application. You're going to see just a general name here under Jason, and then we will log in. Once we've logged in, we're going to go to Program. And currently, we won't be using any of these program lists, so we're actually going to click on the first one and hit Delete Row. We will continue to hit Delete Row until we reach the end, and then we want to save our changes. This pop-up, you can hit OK if you do receive it. It is just a reminder letting you know that your reports filter through the program column, so anything on your program column will reflect in your reports. The next step that we want to do is select Program Options. From here, we'll select Advanced Options, and we're going to enable calendar-based programs. Once you've selected Enable Calendar-Based Programs, you're going to select Save. This is what actually gives us now this new column here that we can select from named Calendar Programs. Prior to entering in any calendar programs, let's remember we need to add all of our items first. Same thing here, we're not going to use these particular items per se, so we will delete them as we go. Just as a little side note, prior to adding anything to any calendar program, general program, any programs, you do have to have that listed as an item. So from here, we're going to select Add Row. This is where we're going to start. This was the point I was discussing earlier, where I'm going to just copy and paste from your Excel sheet that has your menu on it. So we will copy on our Excel sheet, and then we'll come back to the row and we will right click and select Paste Row. Now you'll see some errors, some things here. Not to worry, this is easy to fix. The reason it's like this is because there are several spaces in the actual Excel sheet, so we just have to get rid of those. So what we do is we just click it once and hit Delete Row. And we will delete all of these blank ones. Excuse me. We'll just go through and delete any of the blanks. Another thing to note is there is a limit on space that you can utilize. So I do recommend going through each item and maybe even creating abbreviations, removing any of these number schemes, any unnecessary characters, so on and so forth for your whole list. Once you've gotten your first day, so as we saw in the spreadsheet, this I have is week 3. And this started for Monday, the 30th of January. And naturally, you'll use a dated menu that you need. Once you have that entered in, the very last row for the first day, you're going to hit Add Row. I started on week 3 because that's what made the most sense for me in my timing scheme. You will just go ahead and put the next day of the week with what week you are working with. This is something you can remove later on. It will help you throughout your customization and your menu changes for you to understand which items match to which week and menu. From here, we're going to select Save Changes. And of course, we're going to hit OK. This is that note that I mentioned earlier about having all your items added first before you can add them. I do them day by day instead of all at one time. That way I can separate them, and you will see that here shortly. Next, we're going to go up to our calendar programs, and we're going to select the day of the week we want to start with. I selected week 3, and I selected a Monday. So I'm going to go ahead, just for the video's sake, and select June 12th. Double click into your day and name your program. So for here, we're going to name it week 3, breakfast, excuse me, and lunch. Okay. We'll determine whether it's holding or cooking. For purposes of the video, I'll do a day of holding and I'll do a day of cooking. Click into your items and questions, select add row, and this is where you can kind of speed up the process. We'll select our first item. I'm going to use my keyboard to tab over. I'm going to select the zone that it is in by using my arrow key. I just arrow down. Select tab again. I'll go down to cheesy eggs, to my hot hold, tab one more time, down to bacon, tab over to hot zone, and tab again down to corned beef hash. And you just continue to tab and use your down arrow key each time that you need to add another item. So the reason this allows you to make it quicker is because you have these options to tab and use your down arrow. So I'm going to go through here pretty quickly just so you can see what this looks like by the end. And you'll see here shortly why, excuse me, you'll see here shortly why I added that Tuesday week 3 kind of breakpoint, if you will, in the items. I did not, if you recall, go through and abbreviate and make changes to each menu name here, just for time's sake. However, now you can see we're at Tuesday week 3. That's how we know that we can stop. We know that we've got everything for Monday on week 3 completed. So you'll actually just delete that row, save and close your changes. We're also going to save our changes here. If you need to add reminder alarms, this is where you will add them for whatever time of day it is necessary for these to be reminded of. So we'll go save, and we'll save these changes. I recommend saving changes in between each edition of the day because that is going to prevent you from losing any work in the event that your computer crashes. With that in mind, the reason that we see this grayed out here, I want to just show you, excuse me, I want to just show you that you can decide when your calendar is automatically loaded into your device. If you were to only want one day at a time to load into your actual handheld device, then you would select today, so on and so forth. You can select the current month. You see this flip into a green status. We'll save these changes. This basically tells you that this is loaded onto the handheld device once you download your settings. So that's week 3, breakfast and lunch holding. You will create a second program here on week 3 for breakfast and lunch cooking. So we'll double click in here. Week 3, breakfast and lunch cooking. Sorry about that. We do actually have a character limit in the program name as well, so I'm just going to shorten that up. And week 3, breakfast and lunch cook. Okay, so we'll change this to cooking. Click into our items and questions, add row, and now here we're going to do pretty much the same thing. We'll select our first item, we'll tab over. This allows us to determine what minimum and maximum temperature we need for cooking. So we'll continue to tab. For example, if bacon needs to be a higher temperature, you would just simply type that in with your keypad on your computer. So it's the same process. You just change temps as you need. You tab over, down arrow for the whole program, so on and so forth. I'm going to stop at this one just for purposes of time, but then you would save and close, set your reminder alarms as necessary, and save your program. Once you've saved your program, you will select Save Changes, and you will see this here. Next, we will move on to Tuesday. I'll show you how you can copy and paste each week. That way you have the ability to maintain your program on your calendar. Since we've saved changes, we can move on back to our items here. And remember our breakpoint, we'll add a row directly after that breakpoint. And we're going to copy all of Tuesday right click, paste row, go through and correct any errors here that we have blank spaces. Otherwise, it will not let you proceed. It will tell you that there is an issue. So if you miss one, it's okay, you will be warned. But just to remind you one more time of the importance of a breakpoint here so we know where we're starting. It's okay if some of these items repeat what was up at top. You are welcome to simply go off of the top items on this list. I recommend utilizing the breakpoint and ensuring that each item from each day is added to save yourself some time scrolling through these items. That way you don't miss any of them. Now that we have all of Tuesday added, we're going to go ahead and create another breakpoint, and we're going to go with week 3 Wednesday. There is no particular format necessary for this. Whatever is easier for you to read and utilize, that's what you will utilize. From here, we're going to save our changes. Back to our calendar programs, double click on our Tuesday, and we're going to start again. Now you can name this however, whichever way you want, whatever makes the most sense for you. That's totally up to you and your location. Now that we're adding items again, now we can scroll down and find our breakpoint. Now we know this is the first one to start with. So I'm not going to do the entire program. But just so that you can see kind of the gist, the same thing here, we're going tab, tab, down key, tab, tab, down key. If you need to change the zone, maybe it's a cold hold, then you'll just go down with your down arrow, so on and so forth. Once we've saved those, we'll save and close. We'll select any reminder alarms as necessary, and we will save. It's the exact same process here. We're going to do the same thing for week 3 Tuesday as we did for Monday. Once you have your entire week built out with breakfast, lunch, holding, cooking, and dinner holding and cooking, then you will just select right click on that week in the gray area, and you're going to select copy entire week. We know we're running on a 6-week cycle, so you will go 6 weeks out. We have 1, 2, 3. We'll go ahead and switch months here. 4, 5, 6. Here we can right click in this space and paste. Now, had we had the whole week filled out, the whole week would have pasted. But just so that you get an idea, you can see you can actually just copy the whole week and paste it into any week that you need it to be on. We'll save our changes here. Let's go back to the month we're in. You would move on to week 4 in this instance, and do your 6-week copy and paste, so on and so forth for each week. In the meantime, you just keep adding your items, keep adding your calendar programs. If you run into any issues at all, please feel free to reach out on our support page at itdfoodsafety.com. We'll be happy to help you out from there.